Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this, my second channel, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show goodness. If you'd like to support this channel, then there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below this video. Now, we are in the interim stages between the two live shows, so I'm going to transition across to the debating panel and open the mic on them, so you can be entertained by the dulcet tones of whoever's in there while I set up for the second live show.
You
didn't what? You didn't fight him? Is that what you said?
No, I'd invite him.
Oh. Yeah, he was just clearly being a dickhead. I mean, he knew what we were talking about.
Oh, this sticking with the Globers thing that he's up to is really not good for his character. Because he started out pretty okay, but yeah, as soon as he gets triggered about a globe thing, or if Flat Earther versus Glober thing in his mind, then he just becomes a total troll. It's kind of a waste. Because he is kind of smart, but he just gets sidetracked with his delusional religion.
Yeah, Ruben's just become a completely lying sack of shit. He just completely came in and misrepresented the position, only to concede it 25 minutes later.
Oh, oh, look who's back.
Why are you here, Ruhif? I kicked you out for being an asshole. You obfuscated our point.
I thought I was
25 minutes and then conceded
welcome back on the next stream.
Ruhif,
I
don't care what you do. Listen to my words. You obfuscated our point, misrepresented our position for 25 minutes, then conceded our point. Why are you such an asshole?
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah,
Before
I
you
want an answer.
please, Nathan.
Okay.
Ruhif, if you want, you can.
Oh, my bad.
come on the
I was
Flat
obviously
Earth
asking
Early Bird
Arwin.
show.
Don't worry about it, Ruhif. Arwin's got the answer.
Sorry, sorry, Nathan. Sorry, but I'm just before you kick him or whatever. Like, yeah, if you want, the Flat Earth Early Bird show is 1 hour early.
Why would you want to lie
more
on your show
better
anyway?
for you, for your rhythm, so you don't have to stay up. So
It would be. I mean, it's oh yeah, I haven't stayed up this late for months, and it's daylight savings here as well. So
just saying.
yeah,
Got
no, it'll
an
be good.
open
It's on your
invite.
channel, actually.
It's Arwin, and
Fun.
on the Flat Earth Early Bird show.
Piss off. Piece of shit.
Or when you're inviting him to your show, when he just totally obfuscated the point that we're talking about. I don't understand why you're being
Right.
so nice to him.
Well, because I think he's basically just mind farting around.
Well,
It's very late for him. Like,
okay,
really
misrepresented our
late.
position for 25 minutes.
Yeah, he is a kind of a dick.
Introduced a new strawman position about the horizon, and then eventually, after grunting a few times when I had him up against the wall, conceded our point. Oh yeah, the angle changes with distance. Yeah, that's our point. That was exactly the point we made. We made it really clearly. You came in, misrepresented it for 25 minutes. Fucking cunt, Ruhif. Just another globehead cunt.
Well, don't forget, everyone is changeable at some point. I mean, if you want to try Arwin, maybe he will understand at some point. So I don't think
I
it is a
just
bad
remember
idea.
he used to be reasonable, and maybe I can get that a little bit back of that and just see like what's going on. Why is he even getting involved in this kind of stuff? What's his motivation really? So I don't know. Maybe he'll visit me in chat or whatever. We'll see.
Well, why is Pete Southland here all the time?
What are you here for, Alan? So you can misrepresent my position as well and laugh when you say the same size in an orthographic representation. See how long you last. Get out. Prick. All of you pricks can piss off.
Alan.
Whoa.
They thought it was funny. Oh, they stay the same size, Nathan. Yeah, they're doing an orthographic representation. That's our point. Like Ruhif just did. Misrepresented the point for about 10 minutes yesterday. only to laugh when I've got him absolutely up against the wall. These arseholes that lie about the globe, they think it's funny. They think it's funny to delude their fellow man. I think it's absolutely outrageous and disgusting. You know, we've all been lied to, and the people who continue to perpetuate it think it's funny and think it's okay to just be even more deceitful on top of it, misrepresent our position like Ruhif just did. Just disgusting behaviour. Man's a worm, they all are.
How long till the next show, Nathan?
3 minutes.
Oh, good.
Oh, Arwen.
Hey, Cinder.
The non-tangible sun and moon makes a little more sense to me. Since, I don't know, I had a strange dream where when I realized that the sun doesn't have to be material, it kinda opened a lot of possibilities, because now the sun isn't a fixed thing that NASA knows how it works and how it behaves. Now you kind of can imagine how it could be or how it could work, and I think this kind of brings some more joy in thinking about the celestial bodies. Than,
yeah, it does. It's a giant mystery, just in plain sight, needing to be identified. Like, why is it like that? It's a big mystery. I love it.
Yeah, I had like a strange dream where the sun was like, I know it doesn't, it probably doesn't work that way, but there was like I was standing on a hill, and then the earth started to like on a earthquake, like it started to shake a little, and those shock waves went into some substance where the vacuum should be, according to the heliocentric model. And when those shock waves met, then I could see like stars. I know it's complete bullshit, yet it's fun to think about new ways to imagine how those things work. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, you're expanding your holographic dream approach of your conceptualization, basically. That's building. I do that a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of like stepping out of a prison when I think about it, because a prison dictates how everything around you should be and should work, and you step out and you have a lot more possibilities to think how things work.
Yeah, well, that is exactly what Flat Earth is about.
Isn't it so much better, Zender, to have that curiosity open up for you instead of having to believe some crap you read in a textbook when you were 4 years old? You know?
Yeah, it's a slow process, yet I think it's a really hard process. For some people it was easier, for some people it's really hard, right? So
it takes so much of all of this awakening in itself is letting things sink in, because the rational mind is very quick and also very quick to make you judge things, but the subconscious, it digests on, it's like the guts literally digest on things, and it takes time to adapt to what you're confronted with psychologically.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, and there's also a PayPal and crypto link in the info box below this video. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on social media. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by Zinder, Physics Warrior, Mabessa, Flatten Earth, Daniel, Chocolate Sane, and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Thank you.
Shout out to Flat Earth Zinder.
Good morning, good morning.
Zinder was telling us before the show started how and it was directed
Tweet.
at Arwin about how he now appreciates that the sun doesn't necessarily have to be a physical thing, but he explained also very Arwin-esque that it came to him in a dream. I was like, oh my god, this is definitely Arwin's influence.
Yes. Zinder, I'm officially adopting you as my wizard apprentice.
Oh, thank you very much. It was my dream all along. Yeah. It's
That's my
interesting.
dream.
I mean, it's kind of stepping out of a prison. The prison is the supposed knowledge the space agencies and everyone gives you, and it kind of closes your mind. Yet when you accept that it doesn't have to be material, it doesn't have to be that way, it opens your mind and for imaginations how it could work and how it could behave. So yeah, it's kind of like a positive feeling.
It is a spiritual liberation, a creative liberation. And yeah, you're very lucky if you have that capability in your brain. It has to be part of you. You have to have the talent for it. Some people just never get that. Others are drowning in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a great tool. It helps you get a new level of insight into things very quickly. It brings you back into the learning state that that all people are in, like between their 5th and their 8th age. People are like really conceptualizing things. Well, you're basically, when you do that kind of process, you go into a fallback position to that tool, and it brings out all new possibilities of learning. It's a psychological tool, and if you have the talent to get it back,
I mean,
you can go all kinds of places. Sorry.
I don't think all the flat earthers think the sun is not physical.
I'm not. It's just no. I'm more talking about the experience.
Do you want to add to it, Daniel? I know you've got your mic open because we can hear you.
Does Physics want to say something, or just have us listen to him shower? Because that's hot too. That was well said, Arwin. I agree. It's a talent. That's very well said.
Yeah. Just like the senses. Some people have very strong senses in certain departments and not so strong in others. Until you experience through somebody else what these senses can be, to what level they can go, you can start to realize that it even exists and that you don't have the range for it.
Yeah.
Every department, smell, sight, hearing, certain reasoning processes, all that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, if some
instinctive talent.
I mean, if someone like me might become a flat earther, I think most people could become a flat earther one day, because I never really questioned anything on the globe model, and yeah, it's kind of shifted a little bit. So I think the most important thing approaching globe earther on the street or friends or so is like asking some question, take it slow, and like make them come up to the conclusion for themselves. yet push a little bit, but not too much, because otherwise you close the person and the person says, no, I don't want to hear anything about it anymore.
Well, that's exactly how I approach it.
That's
So
exactly what
I
you gotta
disagree,
do.
Cinder. You're gonna say something?
It's the
Physics?
careful approach. It's
Hey, Arwen, you should let Earth Flattener say something. I mean, you said
sure.
a lot.
Yeah, I
Go ahead,
disagree,
Fred.
Cinder. I'm still gonna stay with it's a talent and you have to have it, and I think we could all see it in you, Cinder. And the same with Ruhip, except I think Ruhip got absorbed by Rumpus and the like. So no, it's definitely you. It's your perception, the way you see the world.
I don't think so. I think
That's all right.
most people could have this. So I mean, I kind of ordinary globe earther. I was kind of ordinary globe earther who kind of liked to kind of like those things from NASA and looking at how the universe works and everything. I think many people do that. Maybe you can't convince someone who is really deep into the topic, right? Who studied it. Yet people like me who are kind of superficial towards the system, like towards the heliocentric system, I think people like me can be turned around at some point with enough time.
Difference is, and there is that you have an ability to critically think that a lot of these ballers and trolls don't have.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
even if they do have it, it's like they don't want to use it. Because I don't believe all of these guys really, really believe they live on a ball. I think some of them might think that they do, but they want to fight it so bad. Because, like you said, it's what we learned when we were kids.
It's the mindset. They wanna
Yeah.
win. You're looking for the truth, and that allows real critical approach of whatever you're confronted with. It's a world of difference. Most ballers are completely politicized.
Yeah.
I think it also comes with that ability to be able to be truthful to yourself and say, you know what, I don't know something, and you know what, people have to be okay with that. I think people are too comfortable with thinking they know everything, when honestly, I don't think anybody really knows anything about anything. We're all trying here, but I mean, in the greater scheme of things, I don't think we really know shit. So people assuming that they know everything and want to tell other people things, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But I think that it's part of that system, the heliocentric system, the model. It takes away that ability to think about something outside of what you're taught.
Yeah. And they kind of take they kind of take the opportunity away to find out new things for yourself, how things work, unless you study like really, really precise things like, I don't know, particle physics and go to CERN. Then they start feeding you with material. Yet, as an ordinary person who just is curious about how the world works, they already gave you every answer you even could ever ask, right? So it kind of closes your mind towards this topic, just like this, and don't ask any questions.
I mean, imagine that you right now, because you absolutely believe in NASA and the whole model, the system, whatever. Imagine having to believe that NASA just put some type of probe on Mars just because that's what they're telling you. These guys, a lot of these guys, they have to believe that. That's what their model is. They have to defend it.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having to believe that there's a car in space right now. That's ridiculous. I mean, come on.
They're too emotionally invested.
You guys remember when Jerome
if you believe they're lying about one thing, then you have to question everything else that you love. See? It's a Stockholm syndrome effect.
Do you
You
guys
don't want
remember
to
when
look for the doubt.
Do you guys remember when Jerome went on the Non Sequitur show, and one of the things he highlighted after the fact was the co-host, whose name I don't know, explaining that he didn't necessarily believe that NASA had went to the moon in 1969. So that was his sort of disclosure to Jaren in a back and forth. I don't know if it was a Skype conversation or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But in a back and forth conversation, he basically explained that he didn't really believe in the moon landings, and his peers absolutely ripped him a new one, put him back in line, told him he should believe it. No, doesn't ring any bells to anybody. Not fans of Jaren on the show.
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But in other words, my point being that
Honestly,
if you don't believe in a particular part of the narrative, you're going to be told in no uncertain terms, you should and must believe in this part of the narrative. It is the main narrative. That's what we believe here.
That's honestly sad for somebody to say, I have doubts about a certain thing, and then his actual peers are ripping into him for that. Like, you know, again, where's the open-mindedness? Where's the open curiosity that people should have?
Not allowed.
You know?
It's the mainstream narrative or nothing.
Well, they don't have any of that.
Yeah, well.
Not allowed critical
we're
thought.
here, apparently.
You're allowed to parrot the narrative. That's what they teach you in school. Listen, repeat. Tragic, really.
I love the looks I get from people when I'm having conversations about this, and you know, with people at work or whatever. And we'll start talking about something, and they'll mention the moon or something, and I say, I have no idea what the moon is, and they just look at me like, what do you mean you don't know what it is? I don't know what it is. Never been there. Can't give you any definite answer as to what that thing in the sky is. Just looks like a light to me. You know? And it's just crazy. They just give me that look like, okay, buddy. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, look, you guys could, you know, read all the textbooks you want to read from people who've never been to the moon. That's great. You know, I don't care. I have an open-mindedness. Sorry. They just walk away like, all right.
Yep.
So how do you see the moon, Zinder? Tangible or not?
Well, I see the possibility that it doesn't have to be material. So, kinda. I mean, it could be material. I don't know. Yet, I see the moon as I don't know.
Hold on,
how it is or what it is.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Do you see that Richard guy join, Arwin?
Yeah, I got him.
Thank you. Sorry, Zinder.
No problem.
Yeah, the moon is hard for me because it has craters on it, obviously, or what seems to be, you know. So.
And it's got libration. It represents itself as a sphere. This, for me, was a very hard thing to let go until somebody showed it me modelled as, believe it or not, like a biscuit shape, like a Smartie. You know what a Smartie is? One of those little chocolate.
Yeah.
And they showed it modelled that way. And when someone showed me I wasn't ready to buy that it's a bloody Smartie. Let's put it that way. It's not Blood and Moon. But what it did show me was that it could be modelled a different way. Because I was always holding on to the libration. Well, the libration shows that it's a sphere. It is a sphere. There's libration. Until someone was like, well, what if I showed it you modelled a different way and got it to work? Would you believe that it might not be a sphere? And I was like, nah, it can't do that any other way. They're like, here you go. There's Blood and Moon doing the same thing. You go, oh, shit. And I'm not ready to accept that it is Blood and Moon, but I am ready to accept that I don't know what it's doing, and just because it suggests sphericity doesn't necessarily mean it is.
The giant Smartie in the sky.
Yeah, that's how it's modelled for me.
Oh,
The Smartie, you mean like a chocolate Smartie?
Like Blood and Moon, like a button.
Okay, yeah, like an M&M.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah. In America, Smarties are sour coins that are concave on both sides, on the flat sides.
Oh.
They're gross.
Oh, okay. No, that's not the Smartie I was thinking of.
Oh no,
Yeah.
definitely not that.
It's more like M&Ms.
So, yeah.
Except the flat
smaller
ones.
So can you guys go through that again with the moon? Do you think you could do that?
Go through
Or
what?
who did that presentation? Was it that guy that went allegedly back to the ball? What's his name?
Oh, Chris Monk. Chris Monk was the one who
yeah.
demonstrated it modelled that way, yes.
Yeah, right. I remember
I
that.
don't know if it was recorded. I'm pretty sure it wasn't, actually. But there was a time where I'd be stuttering and stammering over that fact, going, it could be something else. In other words, I've seen it modelled differently. Not it could be a button moon. I've got no idea what it is, and neither does anybody on the panel. None of us have been there. The fact that it's claimed to be a sphere by people who claim to have been there through a vacuum of space, that's a bit of a problem. We won't get into that here. But doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make it a sphere, and it doesn't make it tangible, because we're not touching it.
Of course. Yeah, that's why I say I have a hard time, because it looks like it has craters and things, but we've never been there. We don't know. We can't know. We have to worry about what we're on.
Yeah.
Well,
like
first let's try to approach it, see what happens.
Yeah.
On camera.
Well, like most things space related, and I'm sure Zinda would echo this, as he's just pretty much said the same thing. You've got to relinquish yourself of certain things that you had a very good grasp on up until that point, which is in some ways quite heartbreaking. You know, the idea of space is cool, as far as I'm concerned. I was very into NASA and what they did and what they said and the ideas they put forward. I say ideas because at the time I didn't realise they were just ideas. You know, they were punted as facts. So when you've got to relinquish all that stuff, you go, that's quite heartbreaking. You don't want to. It's just you just suddenly in that moment appreciate that you've been lied to, sold a massive deception.
Yeah,
I was 39 and I cried like a baby when I figured it out.
Oh, okay. I didn't have such an issue with they lied to us or the space as they show us might not be real. I think the possibility that it gives me that I can imagine how it really works without having this concept before my eyes is kinda more heartwarming than the things they present us, than the things space agencies present us. So yeah, I didn't have a big problem.
It's like the scene in the Truman Show. He asks about being an explorer, and the teacher pulls down a map of the world and says, "Well, it's already been figured out. There's nothing left to explore." Well, once you find out initially, you might be heartbroken that you're going to have to relinquish certain things that you clinged onto as being cool, but then you realise there's a whole world of possibility. Suddenly, nothing's set in stone. Everything's up for grabs. And there's a whole world of exploration out there. You just don't know what it is yet, and you don't know what you don't know. That's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, too. Say that to a globehead. And they tell you, just an idiot. You got that to come.
Well, I think from the perspective of a flat earther, our existence seems more important or has more reason than from the perspective of a heliocentric model believer that that we are just like this tiny planet on the almost infinite universe, let's say. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of gave my life more meaning than the universe that is taught in school.
I couldn't agree with you more, Zinder. And that's one of the reasons I'm here in this, conversation, in this debate, whatever you want to call it. Even though people will tell me, "Oh, it's a waste of time. Why do you go on that show?" No, this subject itself fascinates me. There's no subject that fascinates me more than the world that I live in. I don't care about sports. I don't care about watching sports, I should say. I'd much rather play sports if that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to sit home and watch sports. What the hell am I going to do that for? But this, yeah, I can have a conversation about this. It excites me. Maybe that's a little geeky of me, but I'm a geek, so it's all right.
No, I agree with you. Agree with you totally.
Well, isn't this a nice little loving?
Yeah, it's cool. It's beautiful.
We light a
Thanks,
fire
guys.
and sing Kumbaya.
And Nathan, honestly, I want to say thank you for giving people a platform to come on here and you know, talk and express themselves. You know, people might hate it, you know, but I don't know. Somebody like me can really appreciate it because it's just, I don't know. In a lot of ways, maybe it's enlightening to have these types of discussions because I always feel like you can learn something from everybody. Everybody knows something that you don't know. So even the dumbest person can come on and say something really ridiculous, and maybe you're not going to learn from that person, but maybe what that person said will cause you to think about something in a different way.
Are you
That'll
talking
give
about
you
me?
a brand new idea. Of course, Trav, of course.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What's up, Trav?
And most importantly, Nathan, thank you for making our waffling on concise, turning it into a concise, beautiful sentence, just like Meekin said. You're great.
Well, I don't know, you say it's constructive, but when you have something like that happened on the last show, so sort of 20-25 minutes of Ruhif misrepresenting our position only to concede it right at the end. Oh yeah, the angle does change with distance, which was our point. You know, that for me is just like 25 minutes of confusing the audience. Well, is Ruhif right? Are they wrong? The angle doesn't change? Like, that for me is just assisting the confusion. Yes, he conceded in the end, but there might be people who aren't that observant in the audience who don't pick up on that fact and go away with the idea that he's actually correct.
That's what he wants. That's why he came here to confuse people, I guess.
But when it's just your normal Joe, yeah, I can totally understand that when it's someone like the Rumpus or Miles Lyle Davis. But when it's someone like Ruhif, it's just supposed to be Joe Average, right? Normal dude that believes in a globe. So when he's turning to the ways of the Rumpus, you're like, what's going on? You know, I get annoyed and angry because I have actually got some empathy for Ruhif. You know, at some stage I like the guy. So that can very quickly turn to hatred, as much as that disgusts me to actually express that as true. But, you know, the people you like are the people you tend to hate. I don't hate the Rumpus because I've never liked him. Do you know what I mean? I've got no reason to hate him. Does that make sense? Whereas with Ruhif, when he starts to do that, I feel hatred towards him, like literal physical hatred and disdain towards him and what he's doing, because he started off as Joe Normal. Now he's coming on misrepresenting our position for 25 minutes, only to concede the very point we're making that he's misrepresenting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like spending 20 minutes with someone about gravity and how it's sort of a fallacy and it doesn't really make any sense.
Hello, Ruhif didn't misrepresent anything. You completely misunderstood what he was telling you.
He conceded it at the end, Rumpus.
No, he didn't. He
did.
Because he was talking about two different angles. One was the angle to the object.
I kicked Rumpus because I hate Rumpus. I've never liked him. But I like Ruhif. You know, we could actually convert him. I think we could get Ruhif.
You know what's funny? I was just gonna try to cut him off and just ask him, Rumpus, could you please just have a decent, normal conversation?
The answer is
like,
no.
Don't be Rumpus today. Just have a convo. But you got him. So
he was going to do exactly the same thing. You know, all it would have done is got me angry. So I'm very grateful to whoever kicked him. I wasn't going to because he's the only globehead here. He's not here to obfuscate some point we're making with somebody. So I was more than happy to chat to him. On the other hand, the first thing he did was lie. So he did concede that the distance does change the angle. It is a fact. The reason Rumpus needs to obfuscate this is because that point makes the calculator false. Because once you take a picture, the angle to anything in the distance is fixed at the angle that you take the picture of. It will not alter, but they alter it incrementally depending on distance. A point Ruhif did concede. Now Ruhif conceded that. Rumpus can come in and lie about it all he likes. It's going to get him kicked by another member of the panel. Good. It may not be that specific reason that you got kicked out, and I'd have just addressed it and pointed out that Ruhif had conceded it over and over again, probably 20 times for the rest of the show, while he said, no, he didn't, it's talking about different things, and then he misrepresented again and talked about the horizon like Ruhif did. You know, that's all that had happened. I don't mind if it's just him, to be honest. It's like, it's only when he comes in and you're in the middle of a conversation with someone else, only for him to immediately come in and ejaculate all over the conversation.
He never introduces himself and says hello, does he?
Say that again, Paul.
He never introduces himself politely.
Well, he hasn't got a name. He's got a cartoon name.
I mean, when he joins, he never just says, "Oh hi, it's Rumpus. How are you all doing?"
Yeah, I try and greet him though. I say hello to him.
Yeah, but he's immediately talking over people and just instead of saying hello.
Yeah, he's here to rumpus. His name is literally Rumpus, and that's what he does.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, the fact that he came in and immediately started to do exactly the thing that we'd just taken apart for 20 minutes is not. It's not unexpected because they need to. You know, they don't want people in the audience to understand that it's fallacious to continually change the angle of view to something that you've fixed the angle for. And this is the point that Miles Davis has used in this example. He's even saying it. I'm fixing my angle. I'm level with these bridges. Right, so you've got a fixed angle then. Oh, right, your calculator changes it with distance. A point conceded by Ruhif. Painful though it was for him to do. Yeah, the calculator's a load of old crap. Begging the question fallacy to begin with anyway. But anyway, we argue about these things 10 steps into a begging the question fallacy like it's actually important.
Hey Nathan, do you mind if I give you an update on Manx forums?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just
Well, I'll give you a preamble first. So, hold on one sec. So, Manx Forums is a forum that's been run for about the last 5 years, and Bess has been on that site fighting all the various different trolls because it's very much a mixed group. But it's a Flat Earth specific site called Manx Forums. Do you want to give the exact website and then launch into what's been going on, Paul?
Yeah, that's manxforums.com.
And what's been going
on? Sorry?
Hey, Ranty. What's been going on Manx Forums?
Pardon?
You said you wanted to tell us about what's been going on Manx Forums.
Yeah, so briefly, it's called manxforums.com, Flat Earth, and it was started by someone who just simply made a thread called Flat Earth ? So it went on for 4 years nearly now. Well, 3.5 years, getting on for 4 years. And it's still going, and we're still fighting the trolls, obviously. But Chinahan, who is the equivalent of Rumpus on the forum, has point blank refused to come on this show. He said that you're a bunch of fantasists, basically, and a cabal on YouTube.
Yeah, there's always some excuse. That's fine.
Well, I said to him, I said, well, how come you've been on this thread for 4 years, but you haven't even got 20 minutes to go on the show and talk to the lads? Because I told him if he brings his Aristophanes fairy tale on the panel, it'll just get mauled. So he's okay to be an anonymous troll on the internet completely for 4 years nearly. But when it comes to actually facing flat earthers on a live panel for a live debate, he doesn't want anything to do with them.
I think it's because he probably knows his arguments will get destroyed. Whether he thinks we're a cult or what did you say? Cabal. I mean, his arguments are just going to get destroyed like all the other ones.
I genuinely think that he thinks it's below him.
Yeah, that might be the case too.
He thinks flat earthers are so stupid and he's so superior to them. He wouldn't even come on here. But that's the height of ignorance, I think.
I agree with that.
But yeah, shout out to China Manx Forum. Thanks for that, Nate.
Yeah, pleasure. Check it out as well if you're in the live audience. manxforums.com. You're all are welcome.
You don't beg the question here, do you, Nath? I keep falling into that trap.
I don't know. Did you watch what happened with Ruhif?
Ruhif? No, I've just walked in the door.
He came on the panel and had a full explanation from Adam about the mathematics being fallacious on account of the fact that the angle should be fixed, as Miles Davis has asserted, and in every picture ever taken ever. But the calculation changes it with distance. Well, that was asserted. Ruhif came in and said the dip angle doesn't change, the horizon is what you're measuring to, blah, 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 blah. And then Adam took him through it mathematically, explained that it is actually the case that the angle changes with distance, and showed him the mathematics for it. Eventually, 25 minutes later, he conceded. Oh, yeah, well, it does change with distance. And then I kicked him out in utter disgust. And it does appall me, to be honest, the fact that he can come in and basically play the rumpus and obfuscate and misrepresent our position for so long, not concede the very point we make, and at the end go, oh yeah, it does change with distance. Our very point. Just outrageous, you know. I think at this point I'll just stop caring about Ruhif. He'll just be another one assigned to that list of people that are just basically shits. And you go, nah, who cares? Just another wanker.
See, what they don't understand is where you're coming from. And that's the point that, let's suppose you was going to go for a mortgage and get a mortgage. Well, in order to satisfy the proofs to the bank, you need to prove what you've earned over the past 6 months. You need to prove that you've got money in the bank for a deposit. So in order to get the mortgage, you need to prove to them what your position is, right? So when they come in and they start talking about standard refraction and stuff like that, you've then got to say, well, okay, well, your standard refraction is based upon an R value. Prove us the R value first, and then we can proceed. I'll accept standard refraction once you prove the R value.
Yeah, they haven't proven R though, are they? Let's be honest.
No. No.
They'll claim it. Demand that you accept a consensus opinion from the body of science.
Yeah, I've been letting them get away with this standard refraction nonsense. I think I'm going to join you on this from now on. And essentially, well, I'm not going to let them beg the question, you know, until they can prove the R value for this standard refraction. Then that's what this entire standard refraction is all about, an R value. So prove the R, and then we'll accept the standard refraction.
Well, no, that was a sigh of relief, because up until now, and don't take this the wrong way, Ranty, but you are willing to beg the question almost too much, which to me says, it's hard to phrase without it sounding bad, like you don't quite get it, that you don't quite accept that ultimately speaking, the starting point for that calculator is to assume you're stood on a sphere.
Oh, I've always understood it, but I like to play their games with them and still beat them at it.
Oh, well, that's even worse then. Then you're at the annoying Anthony stage where you want them to beg the question.
Yeah, but now I just don't care. Now I actually want proof. You know, I'm sick of these coming in and saying this, that, and the other. I want somebody to come in who's going to show me proof of R, and that's it. You know, this is what we want. We haven't got time to sit around just twiddling our thumbs waiting for the same knobheads to come in every time and spout standard refraction without proving anything to us.
Yeah, I think that's, again, partially because of your work in the first instance, though, Ranty. So because of you, Anthony, Adam, and about a shitload of other people. I've got to stop swearing. It's because my kid's not in the house. Even though we ultimately have picked apart the calculator to such an extent that none of it makes any sense anymore. We've pointed out every flaw there is in it. And, you know, this changing of the angle to the target is just the sort of last nail in the coffin as far as I'm concerned. You know, it cannot represent reality if it's continually changing what it claims you're viewing a specific thing in the picture at. That's not reality, that you can't do that. It's impossible to do that, and no one will ever prove it as possible. So the calculator is a waste of space, waste of time, begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking calculator, as we've always asserted. But we've just got that little bit further down the road on ascertaining how they've hijacked perspective. We knew they'd hijacked it. You knew it 5 months ago when you showed those turbines in a line and drew the linear relationship between them. So we ultimately always knew that they'd hijacked perspective. We just didn't necessarily know the intricacies of how they'd done it. And now we do.
Indeed. I'm still waiting for somebody to show me proof of standard refraction, though. So this is a shout out to all the ballers in chat. And if you've got proof of standard refraction, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, standard refraction, otherwise known as terrestrial refraction, 7/6R. So they'll argue with you all day long about real refraction and what causes it, and then apply 7/6R to the assumption of R. That's what they do. As John Paul, as Quantum Eraser would phrase it, it's a begging the question fallacy on steroids.
Well, next month, for the entire month, I'm going to go down and I'm going to test for this standard refraction. I'm going to use the buildings of Barrow and that stationary post that's in the water, and also the corner of the metal railings that I can rest my camera on, so I can go to the same spot every day. I can point my camera at this post that's approximately 1.5 miles away, but it's actually in the water, and it's always higher than the water level. So, and it's in a direct line of sight with the buildings of Barrow. So if I go every single day and I'm looking for a deviance between the building, the top of the building or the middle of the building, wherever it sits on that post, and I'm going to go every single day for a full month. Sometimes I won't get any visibility, so obviously I won't be able to see anything, but I'll still take images to prove that I was there. And I'll upload a video every single day, and I'll be looking for standard refraction, because if there is standard refraction and there's like movement, we will see it. We will evidence it in this particular form of a test over the month. And we'll do it for a full 31 days. And I'll analyze it at the end. I'll put every single picture next to each other, and I will be amazed if there's any difference. Well, because every single time I've gone, I've actually done this partially so far, and I haven't seen any difference.
Just a minor correction. What you'll be looking for is the effects, the real effects, the effects that do exist of refraction. Just refraction.
Well, I'll be looking for looming more than anything.
Oh, my correction's wrong. I stand corrected. So you are genuinely looking for 7.6R, begging the question, refraction looming?
Yes.
I see.
I'm looking for it.
But you've got to first find... You can't, though, because you've...
Yeah, but
you've got to first find that Earth curve, mate.
Yeah.
To Flatten Earth for the super chat. Much obliged.
But after a month of doing it, if it's not there, if there's no difference, if this building doesn't appear to be loomed in any way, shape or form, up, down, any to the side, anything, it doesn't change in any single way over a full month, I think that kind of categorically disproves the effect that looming actually happens.
Well, I mean, I would just disprove that by saying that the effects of looming are an exaggerated effect of terrestrial refraction, which is a begging the question fallacy on steroids.
Yeah, well, I just want to pick apart this nonsense of looming. You forget, Nathan, I've been on the receiving end, because my channel is about photography and looking at stuff in the distance. I always come across refraction and looming. This is what people always come back to me with when I see much further than we should.
I get it.
So
I get it. I know I'm almost intentionally talking at cross purposes with you, Ranty. I totally get what you mean. You're going to go out and look for the effects of stuff rising up above an Earth curve looming, right? Yeah. And you know full well that's bollocks. I know it's I know full well it's nonsense. But what I'm trying to get across by having this conversation is by pointing out that what they call refraction is terrestrial refraction, 7.6R, and you're going to go out and look for nonsense, which is fine.
I'm going to look for
some
nonsense.
actual evidence of that would be nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go and look for nonsense so that I can throw it back at the ballers when I go back to Barrow and Furnace and I'm doing my observations and I'm seeing much further than I should. I'm seeing the buildings when they shouldn't be there. And every time they turn around to me and say, oh, it's looming in your area, it must be this looming standard refraction, I can go and I can say, well, do you know something? I did a full month here and there wasn't a single evidence of any kind of looming going on in this area for a full month. That kind of busts their balls on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in what you'll get because you've done it. You did it with the P900 pretty much. You were out at Barrow so much, and you know the effect of stuff being in a different geographical location, even if they claim it's a holographic effect, it never happened, not once.
I know, but I just want to do it. I want to do it so that we've got it. And then we can say, well, Ranty went and tested it for a month and he never found a single pixel of refraction or looming. What you got to say about that?
Indeed.
Go on, Ranty, lad.
So, are you still there, Paul? What did they...
Yeah, I meant to... Sorry, Nathan, I just meant to correct you one more time. It's Mabiza.
Mabiza, sorry.
Yeah, like St. Bees.
Okay, Mabiza. So,
sorry, go on. Sorry for interrupting.
I'll just call you Paul.
Yeah.
What do they make of the most recent captures by Ranty on the forum?
I don't think they're aware of it because no matter how much I post the show, I literally think they won't watch any of it. You know what I mean? I can post anything in there. I'd be lucky if 2 people even watched it for a couple of minutes. I think that ignorant.
Oh, it's mostly globe heads.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
But for Ranty, we're getting the P900 shots for you over the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
Oh, awesome.
Out of Douglas Bay, so it was, you know, both sides as far as we can see.
Right, see Blackpool Tower?
I'd be lucky to. But I don't know what it is. As we're looking sort of towards Blackpool, there's a massive, like a big hill, which is what we can see predominantly.
Right, okay.
In the landscape. I'm not exactly sure where it is. I haven't looked on Google Earth or not.
Well, that'll probably be to the other side of Barrow, so it probably won't be anywhere near Blackpool. Blackpool will be far to the right-hand side.
Far to the right-hand side, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to me, if I look out from Douglas Beach, Barrow and Finesse is straight ahead.
Right.
St. Bees is to the left, past Donkenhead, and then obviously Blackpool's beyond Douglas Harbour way. But we'll see what we get for it anyway. We'll send you the pictures.
Awesome. Don't be disappointed if you don't get what you expect to see, because it is literally a long, long way away, especially if you're going to be doing it from ground level.
On most days, especially on some of the coldest days, the visibility is amazing.
Yeah.
Especially the wind farms and things like that.
And it's kind of at odds, don't you think? This when it's cooler weather, you see much further.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like goes against their belief in hot air over a cold surface, doesn't it?
Well, what was Rumpus's perfect conditions that he said it would happen? Wasn't that, was it?
No.
No, he promised a model for it about, I don't know, 6 months ago.
8 months ago.
We even said he could beg the question to do it, you know. Beg your question, assume you're on a sphere, model it out with your refraction. Oh yes, a couple of days.
Where's Anthony today?
Don't know. I think he's probably doing some homework. I think he's doing homework. He's got a... maybe you've been keeping up to date with what he's doing in terms of his assignments for uni. So,
dissertation.
He's doing homework today.
Yeah, sounds like he's making good progress.
He's definitely, you know, for all the people who donated to that cause, he's certainly putting the hours in. You know, he cuts me off enough conversations because he's busy doing it. You know, literally getting it down and polishing it up, and good for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, you think that the couple of things that you've actually promoted on here are getting good value for money. Let's be honest. You've got Anthony that's going down and doing this full master's degree, putting the time in, the effort. We talked to him offline as well, and then we've got myself that goes out and uses the P1000 and climbs mountains, 700-foot hills to try and see these observations. You get value for money, don't you, Nath?
I was going to say, can you put your glorious recent imagery of the Isle of Man up? I know we've got a lot of the older screenshots scrolling by on the screenshots, but as you say, it's the imagery is literally crowdfunded imagery. If you exclude the fact that you've still got to fork out for petrol, actually go and do it, you know, dedicate your time, not be working, all those things. But the camera itself that's produced the
Patreon. I've got a Patreon, just that I'd tell people.
And big shout out to all of Ranty's patrons. But yeah, it's crowdfunded imagery if you want to look at it in that way, and I completely agree. I knew that was the case when I promoted those fundraisers, yours especially. You know, I knew damn well that the people who contributed would get very good value for money out of what you did, because you would just use it. You're not just going to stick it on your shelf. So yeah, hoping you'll stick some of those images up and we can have a little look at them. But the same applies to Anthony. I knew full well. You know, he explained before he did the fundraiser that he put it in such a way that I was like, that doesn't sound good for the public. But now he's said it, it's like, well, actually, it does make a lot of sense. You know, the risk of doing it when it's a huge financial risk is massive. Even though the reward is huge, he can't really take that burden on himself. And who can? You know, I haven't got a couple of grand to spare, I know that much. I haven't got a couple of quid to spare, if I'm ruthlessly honest. Big shout out to Earth Flattener again. You know, it's the super chats and the monetization of my channels that keeps me going. It pays my bills. So, you know,
you're lucky. I can't get monetized. They won't monetize me, no.
Absolutely. I had this conversation with Zach yesterday, and I was like, you know, I am big shout out to YouTube. Eternally grateful that I can actually make money from YouTube. You know, it does actually pay my bills. And I am very, very grateful to every single person who watches the ads or donates to the super chat, you know, or sends me money on PayPal. You know, big shout out to all those people, because it's what keeps the show going. I would be delivering groceries right now if it wasn't for those people. And the same applies to all the people who donated to Ranty to produce imagery like this, if it wasn't for those people. But on the other hand, when we've got imagery like this, and we can start to reassess the curve calculator, you know, you can poke the bear like Sly, and then have a good laugh when he says it matches the globe perfectly. You know, that's good fun. But ultimately, it's meant we've gone back into the begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator, and had another look at how the magic trick works. And we can now assess the fact that the targets are changing the angle of view. You know, thanks very much for actually conceding in the end, Ruhif. Now I'm indifferent to you as an individual or a person. You know, ultimately you conceded that fact that was pointed out to you on several occasions by myself and Adam. But yeah, that alters how much you should or shouldn't see in the favour of a globe that doesn't exist and a curve that isn't there. You know, you can't manipulate the angle of view once you've taken a picture. It's fixed. But that's precisely what the maths does. We wouldn't be able to make those sorts of statements if it wasn't for this, the crowdfunding, and Ranty actually getting out and doing it. So Ranty, more kudos to you than anybody. Another shout out to... Who's that? I didn't see his name. Shout out that super chat. Bear with me a second. NH by... NY by. Sorry. NY by. Thank you very much for the super chat. Much obliged.
Well, just so you guys know, this is a new location that I've decided to go to. So come January, I'm going to have a couple of places that I'll be heading to. One will be inland. It takes about half an hour to get here. And then it's a climb. So I've got to climb the 700-foot high to the top. And then I'll be obviously coming back and getting these kind of images. And the good thing is, because I've got this data now at this time, I'll be able to compare and see where they are in relation to the wind turbines, you know, again, looking for this non-existent standard refraction, because essentially if it is being loomed up, the next time I go, this mountain should be lower than these turbines. You know, this is how it's going to be. But if every time I go and we always just see this, then there's a massive problem with the curve calculator. So this is location one, and obviously I've got Barrow as well, where I'm going to be testing for this, again, standard refraction. I don't think we're going to find any, but there you go. You've got to do this to try and get anywhere in this debate. You've got to actually I've got to go and do their work for them. Essentially, I'm going to go looking for standard refraction so that I can disprove it, because they haven't been able to bring it to the table. So if in the fact that they haven't been able to bring it to the table, I have to go out and disprove it. And this is what I'm going to do. So yeah.
Another shout out to Flat and Earth. Thank you again for the super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Very, very kind of you.
Yeah. Oh, and my Patreon is Ransom Flat Earth. In case you didn't know.
Gonna get the leeches. A bit of successfully begging.
It's still to go to these places and do this stuff. You know. I mean, each time I go here, it's half a day to go and do this sort of stuff.
Be grateful for your camera.
I know. Yeah.
No, but in all seriousness, this is absolutely spectacular. I mean, you know my reaction. I tend to get privy to this stuff before the show. So Ranty showed me this stuff, and I was, I'm like a little school kid. Wow, look at this.
There's loads of stuff. There's even these the images and stuff. Some of the images that you can capture from up there. So if I open, hopefully, can open it with. Let's see.
I'll take you off screen just in case you took pictures of things you might not want on screen.
No, this is fine. The only problem that
jolly good.
I didn't really want these on because I'm an hour out anyway. You know, the camera's still an hour in front, because essentially this was at sunset, and sunset was at 4 p.m. even though it says 5 p.m. So, but it's an hour out anyway. But some of the images you can capture from this hill are astounding. Especially this. I've got one coming up.
Is it not a connected camera? I thought it had various Wi-Fi and such capabilities. I thought it would auto update the camera at the time.
Yeah, you'd have thought so, but it hasn't.
Shout out to Retro Bill for the super chat. She says shout out to R. Yeah, massive shout out to R.
Here we've got the entire pleasure beach. Literally, this is the entire pleasure beach in one frame. from the top of this hill, and the pleasure beach in Blackpool is probably nearly a mile long, I would think. Yeah, you got the big one going up and it turns around there. You've got the ice blast in there and the sun setting behind over here.
Oh, it's raining money, Nathan.
That's absolutely glorious. Not the raining money thing, but the. I'm not taking any credit for this when I say this, but I did say to Ranty, look, you've got this beautiful expanse with the pleasure beach. It's just interesting structures, right? Would you all agree that looks cool? It just does. It just looks nice. I'm just glad we're getting into, you know, photography from higher up, rather than having all this squashed stuff where you can't, you know, it's in that limited band at the horizon and you're arguing about squashed stuff. Now we know what's squashing it. It's like, great, now let's move on. Let's get higher up and get some... Look at that. I mean, it's just breathtakingly good. That's our world, and it is glorious, and nobody can deny that from imagery like this. You just look at it and go, wow, that's where we live. It's amazing. Our world is special. And, you know, it's nice to get some sort of, you know, nice imagery of it. Why wouldn't you be appreciative of this sort of shot? It's just like, nice.
Oh, it's just more clouds. It's just a giant cloud bank.
Screw you.
You also...
You bastard. Hijack that point. We have a beautiful world, Darwin, and you know it. Just be mushy with me for a minute. Come on. We had a little loving at the beginning of the show about Zinda. I want to have a proper loving about how beautiful the world is, because it is.
Indeed. And these heavenly bodies, they are amazing. They are a spectacle and a giant mystery. And they make things beautiful. They do.
Just like a baller, we show the horizon and you want to talk about the stars. There's an interesting contrast, though, whenever you're talking about the stars, everything's about the angular size. As soon as you get out of the ground, feet and inches rule.
You know, I do kind of wonder what would happen if you would stand on a very high mountain peak in a relatively not so mountainous area, and in a region where there would have to be clear sky, say, for example, somewhere in Africa or India, where it's really warm, because they tend to have clear skies with brighter stars, and then see if, how far do the stars go down? Could you actually, like, how does it look when they approach the horizon? Or will it just be very apparently a huge flat plane you're looking at, and the horizon's very far? So I just wonder what that would look like on a high altitude, on a big mountain.
Is it all pretty low around where you are then, Arwin?
Yeah, Netherlands is flat. Very, very flat.
I mean, we are lucky. I've always thought this when I was a rep driving around the UK. We do have some really special landscapes here, you know, and it's so varied from north down to south in terms of what the landscape does. It's radical changes. You've got everything in terms of the landscape here.
We got a couple of mountains in the south, but that's mountains, more hill-like territory. Typically, like Belgium, it is the province of Limburg, which is right next to Belgium. It's in between Belgium and Germany, basically. That part of the Netherlands, that's pretty hillish. How do you call it? Has a lot of hills. But other than that, no, everything is just a giant river bed, basically. And dikes and polders. That's all flat. And some of it is even below sea level. No mountains over here.
And silence as we all watch Ranty's footage.
Well, this is what you asked me to get. You asked me to do like a 360 and show you what you can see from up there.
Is this the new Mars footage? Oh no, wait.
I was going to hopefully go back this tea time, but the weather's too bad. Got this 70-mile-an-hour storm that's hitting us called Diana. Storm Diana.
Which direction is it heading?
I have no idea.
It's got calm here, so I would imagine south probably, judging by how calm it is here. It was horrendous wind, and now it's all really calm. You got your window. You're spot on, Ranty, about the timing. So you went just after the full moon, and that was when you got what you wanted.
Yeah. I mean, I have noticed a correlation between clear weather, good visibility, and just after the full moon. So it's for up to, you know, I know you've said this to me, you know, let other people speculate as to why that is. But it just seems that it's a reoccurring thing. Every time there's a full moon, the day after or the day after that, that's when the weather conditions are absolutely brilliant for seeing far. Seems like all the dirty stuff in the air seems to go.
I was just gonna say, maybe like the moon, like, I mean, sometimes I see the moon phases as kind of like a reset for the moon. So maybe it's kind of like the same thing. Maybe like the weather kind of somehow another reset. I mean, I know that might sound silly, but I don't know. Like, because I noticed that too. During the full moon, right after it, it's beautiful. You know, it might still be cold or whatever, but the sky is usually clear as shit.
Yeah, when I mentioned it on Globebusters about 3 months ago, I said to them, I said, you know, I just brought it out, and Bob, and afterwards Bob went, "Oh right, yeah, let's just change subject," you know, because I said, what would happen if it was like a filter, and the moon was like this filter that filtered the air, you know, when it reaches its maximum size.
So I'm going to leave these guys speculating about what the moon may or may not do. As I say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. Over on my second channel right now, there is a repeat of the first debate, if you're a late riser, together with the pre-show. So if you want to check that out, subscribe to my second channel. I'll put a link in the chat box as the end credits roll on this live show. Also, a massive thank you to all the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, then smash the dislike button, but then smash it again. But if you liked it, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Always seems to take forever when I haven't used a program for a while.
Dun, 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 dun.
So, what else were you guys talking about today? Have we had any other Globers in?
Any what, sorry?
Have we had any other Globers in?
Yeah, plenty. The first hangout.
Was that Lowry guy coming?
No, we had Ruhif,
Alan B,
and Rumpus.
P Mars.
Rumpus.
Of course, at the most critical point, after Adam's made his presentation, they come in to try and distract, obfuscate, misrepresent, repackage our position, lie about the actual position, you name it.
The usual.
The usual, yeah.
It's standard tactics by them. We learnt that last year with the Isle of Man. It's what they used to do.
Yeah.
Internet fantasists.
I'm ready to declare it their protocol.
I'd agree. It is. It does seem like it's standard practice. I used to use the word, so I'm going to change to that. I think that's better. That's standard protocol.
It didn't work.
Although when you don't really hammer onto the facts like on my show. I don't do that too much. Alan B over there is just actually kind of a good question asker. So, but yeah, when it comes down to this kind of stuff, the real hardcore, straight in your face facts kind of show, then yeah, that will be their standard protocol. They all
it didn't work today though. It didn't work. They didn't manage to break the mood, and then Zinder came in and started talking about the sun. And this is an awesome show. Today is a great show. Feels good.
Indeed.
That's nice to hear, considering that on several occasions, without them swearing, I just kicked people out. And, you know, that's going to get me criticism. But frankly, I'm sick of it now. If you've got 3 people coming in intentionally, P-Mars was only there to start to rumpus the second the point was getting to the crescendo. So he got kicked quickly. Ruhif was going to get eventually put up against the wall and did eventually concede the point that was being made. Rumpus then came in to reassert the point after the concession. And Alan B, he didn't really say anything. I just kicked him out because I hate him.
Well, at least you're honest, Nathan.
Well, it's just because, again, it pisses me off when people, essentially, you can tell by their tone, they have little tells. Yeah. And yesterday's tell with Alan was to laugh when he was saying, oh, they basically stay the same size. In other words, he's kind of readdressing or dressing up our point in different words, putting it back to me like it's an objection, and laughing because he knows exactly what he's doing. It's like, right, so not only do you think it's funny when, you know, this is the winning point, you know, you're going to repackage it a second time and laugh about it. It's like, no, that's just insulting.
You're sniggering at you.
Exactly. It's just insulting.
And he's a liar.
Yeah, so yeah, Alan deserved to get kicked out today. I may feel differently tomorrow, but at the moment I'm just sick of them lying, basically, and calling us liars. It grinds my gears a bit.
Well, Alan B doesn't offer anything of substance.
Time the debates move forward from having these idiots in, because they don't bring anything.
No.
I mean, that's all we're going to get, you know, because that is the end of the road. So that is kind of that's the show. That's what we get, because all of their arguments have been demolished at one point or another on the show. So they're just going to come back in, and it seems like, oh, you're just readdressing the same old crap. But that's all they've got.
Yep. Busy therapy.
Well, this is there's 2 locations here, Nathan, that I want to test. This is obviously the place that I've been doing my footage just outside of Scorton. So there's the top of Nicky Nook, which is just there. And then we have this other mountain range that's hill range that's behind it. It's about, 3.5 miles further away. But it's 425 meters high, so it's essentially twice the height of where I've been filming from, and still at this distance, I shouldn't be able to see the town of Douglas. So, over the next year, guaranteed, I'll be on that mountain at least 15, 20 times, and I'm going to try and see if I can see Douglas, which will be down in here. So that's a challenge for the next year to hopefully see that, because there should be, if you beg the question, 600 foot of earth curve between my observational height and Douglas. So
there's certainly enough stuff in Douglas to make it big enough to see. Yeah, it might end up being a white blur, but I still think there's enough there to see. It's not like, you know, straight away when you were like, you were looking for more Maccord Lighthouse. I was like, it's too small. It's just, you're never going to see it. You know, you're like trying to find a car when you were using the P900. It's nigh on impossible because it's too small. But Douglas itself is quite substantial, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a very good feeling that I'll be able to see it at least several times over the next year. And
remember how contentious Douglas was?
Yeah, yeah.
Them were the days.
The good old days. Now we're back at the Isle of Man, Nate.
Got legs, hasn't it, Isle of Man? I knew that as soon as it was the very first time Anthony showed it to me. I was like, this has got legs. I'll make a few t-shirts with the Isle of Man on, definitely.
Well, like you say, the next time Anthony goes to to St. Bees, which will be here. Obviously, got Whitehaven down here. He's going to be obviously trying to see Island, because I'm going to loan him my P1000. So he's got a hill there that he can go on. That's, again, it's around about 400 feet high. So it's going to be a stretch, obviously, but it might be worth him having a bash with it.
Interesting.
P1000.
I reckon from the top of St. Bees Head, you catch Belfast.
Well, yeah, I think you probably would.
What is the distance? Just measure. I know we've done it before, but just stick a line in from Whitehaven to Belfast.
Hang on. So here we've got St. Bees. There we've got St. Bees Head.
Yeah, because it's about 300 meters. Is it 300 feet or 300 meters? I forget.
It's about 300. You can go slightly higher. I think you can get up to about 400 feet, or in that 110 meters, 350 foot high. You can get.
Not as high as I thought then.
Well, still 350 foot. It's obviously going to be a push. I mean, to see Belfast, that's quite a distance.
How far is it? Oh, it's 90 miles.
92 miles.
Well, but not necessarily Belfast. I'm talking about that edge of the coast. Where's the?
I mean, you might be able to see these mountain ranges. That would be a. No. So because obviously we'd be skimming the Isle of Man. So if we can see these mountain ranges at 100 miles away, they're at what 500 meters high, 600 meters high. You can get as a push.
What else you got that's high?
No,
along closer. There isn't anything. Is that it?
Well, I think this, to be honest, would be doable.
100 miles.
I think 103, 102 miles. With you're looking for something that's 600 meters high,
I believe
so
it when
nearly
I see
2,000 feet.
I believe it when I see it. I mean, 82 miles that you've got at the moment. I mean, but then again, the resolution you've got at 82 miles.
That's what I mean.
Just badass, isn't it? It does make me wonder. 100 miles. You got to do it, man. Get up St. Bees Head with that camera.
I think I will.
I think it'd be ace if you vindicated Anthony's original question. Can we see Ireland from here? No.
Yeah.
In the case of the P900, you couldn't. But can you? 100 miles?
Well, the only problem with going here is like you've got to come all the way down 55, then you've got to go onto the M6, and you've got to go all the way up here, and then you've got to come across this way. So it literally takes about 3 hours, 3 hours 10 minutes or something to get to St. Bees. Even though it's like as the bird flies, it's not that far. You know,
right.
It's like let's see.
Because there's no motorways. I know that area really well.
It's 50 miles, but essentially the distance I've got to go is all around here.
Yeah, and yeah, I can make it to Carlisle in that sort of time because there's a really good motorway to it from here. You know, it's just you buzz up the motorway. Whereas, like you say, if you're coming out on these little crappy B roads, it can take hours. I remember driving around Wales when I was getting to my folks. You could get 90% of the way in an hour, and then the rest of it took another hour. Because it's just crappy little roads. Single track roads.
And the trolls are also quite inspired in chat today.
Oh, are they out in force again?
They're normally still in there for hours afterwards. So they're probably in there now.
It's like something re-inspired them for some reason. The energy, whatever.
Maybe they've all buggered off to the...
Because sometimes they just like, they don't know what to say. They just say a couple of silly, short things. But today they're like really at it, really trying to psychologically attack things. Even in my chat during the Flat Earth Early Bird, it's like, okay, unusual amount of activity from the baller side. So,
maybe it's just an inspirational day for both sides.
Ooh, I wonder if my intro messed up. I did this whole introduction before the first show started. Had a vague idea what I was going to say. Started the show recording, said it, and then just before I went live, it was like error, this, that, and the other code. And I was like, oh, bloody hell! So I'm going to go and check if it actually worked, or I'm just a garbled mess of distortion at the beginning. Right, back in a minute. Can you still see the chat, by the way?
Sorry?
Can you still see him in the chat?
Hang on, wait a minute. Yeah.
Still jabbering away. Sometimes they're in there for hours. I'll see two people going at it, hammer and tongs, for several hours after the show's ended. And you guys have been here when people have donated. Oh, talking of donations, Flat and Earth, thank you so much for your generosity. I really, really, genuinely do appreciate it.
How much Super Chats did you get today, Nate?
Well, Flat and Earth donated $100. So
what?
More than that.
Thank you so much.
A lot more. Like 160 or something total.
Did you?
Yeah,
wow. Merry Christmas, Nate.
Yeah. Lucky bastard. I could use some of that.
Yeah, I absolutely mean it when I say that I depend on people's contributions to the channel. So, you know, when people like Flat and Earth do that, I am sincerely grateful to them. You know, and it kind of bugs me when...
Yeah, I'm grateful.
You know, people are ungrateful.
For you and the show.
Math Powerland used to get super chats and not even shout them out.
Oh, Flat and Earth is in?
Yeah, he was in the show while he was donating to my super chat.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm at work, you know, and that's mostly when I listen to your show, so I appreciate you every single day. You know, it would be a lot harder without you here, so. And another thing I was thinking about, actually, before I donated was that I have a hard time expressing myself in public. I have stage fright, you know, I guess that's pretty normal. And so whenever I'm trying to translate what I'm thinking into words, I can feel my tongue becoming a knot, you know, but I'm getting a little bit better at it. And most importantly, at work. Whenever we have meetings, phone meetings, I can really express myself. I call my boss a dork now, and just, you know, before I wouldn't go off mute. I would be like, maybe I can say something, and I just wouldn't go off mute. So that's thanks to you, Nathan, for having the show every single day and just letting us sit quietly, and then whenever we want to say something, we can. And so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Getting a lot of gratitude, a lot of love coming my way today. I'm sure I don't fully deserve it, but I'll take it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you do. Of course you do.
Nah, you do deserve it, Nathan.
I don't know, not when you read the comments. You read the comments.
So now you can become a patron of me, Nathan, with all this extra money that you've got. Hey?
Well, I like to add value in other areas. So while I might not be...
I see.
No, just hear me out. Hear me out. While I might not be rich enough to actually donate to your Patreon account, for example, what I can do is use my skill to present a good cause to get you a good camera. So that's where I can, you know, I can actually do something external to just giving you money. You know what I mean? So that's something that I feel quite proud of, actually. The Ranty-a-thon, I'm going to take full credit for it. It was my idea, and I pushed you into doing it. And the net result was a camera. Well, I can't afford to buy you a camera, but what I can do is gen up enough interest for, you know, from you as an individual to start with, because I had to pressure you into doing that live show, and I was like, look, in the background, I'll keep track of the donations, I'll shout out everybody who's doing it from the chat. You've just got to keep putting pictures on the screen. And you did. You know, you did exactly as I asked you, and it was a success as a result. Now, that's something I can do. I can add value in that area. It's a different type of value to just giving out money that I haven't got. You know, much as I've got $100 more thanks to Flat and Earth, I'll be honest, I was looking at my YouTube stats going, oh God, what a terrible month. So, you know, back to it not being a terrible month anymore thanks to Flat and Earth. But that doesn't mean I can afford to give you money, and I'm just being sincere. You know, I am genuinely very poor. That's not me begging either. I'm not saying give me money to the panelists, far from it. But what I am doing is just expressing the fact that I can still offer value in a different way. Same for Jose. You know, through publicising his efforts to get a new camera, he ended up getting a new camera. But I publicised that by talking about it on the show and talking about his GoFundMe. You know, same for Anthony. That I can do, and it doesn't necessarily mean I've got to hand over anything, even though I gave you both a tenner or something very insignificant for both of your campaigns. You know, that's pales in comparison to the several £100s that other people will have given to you as a collective, and that's where I can add value. It's not necessarily just about cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
can
for
you?
Sure.
You can get
me.
With that. You can get me what do you call it then? A Christmas present for Eleanor.
Okay. I will do.
Yeah, and with Ranty, he's a likable guy. So I think you did that in 24 hours, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You got all that money in 24 hours. But the real testament is Anthony, because a lot of people don't like him. So to get his amount raised in 3 days. That's a huge thing.
It's because of the weight of what he's doing.
Absolutely. Of all the things currently going on, and this doesn't get stressed enough because it's currently ongoing, and I don't want to build it up too much, but Anthony's stuff is groundbreaking, potentially.
Yes. And it can be the start of a great entrance into society for Flat Earth. So it's very important.
I want to give a shout out to the Brain, who drove out to meet me this morning.
Really?
And yeah, so we just did an observation across the Chesapeake Bay, and got line of sight shore to shore with mirror reflection. It's cold. It was cold. But
how wide's the Chesapeake?
6 miles, so there should have been 44 feet of hidden.
And did you see all of it?
Yeah, I had line of sight to the shore. I was elevated at one point because there was too much miraging going on, but it was only about 20 feet, so I still had half the distance to make up, but we had line of sight shore to shore. So shout out to the Brain. Not only that, but he had to wait extra long. I had a really long night last night, and I slept in too long, and so I left him hanging for a little bit of time. So
is the Brain a globe head or a flat earther?
Flat earther. He's a flatty, isn't he?
Yeah.
The Brain. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Did you say, was it pretty pictures? That's all I'm interested in these days. Do it look nice?
Yeah. There was some good stuff. I had to. It was really windy, so it was hard to maintain stability. But yeah, I got some good images. I didn't take any stills. I can take some off of the camera once I get back. But I just did live action the whole time. But I just want to let you guys know. So I'll be processing that and getting that up as soon as I can.
Excellent. Look forward to seeing it.
Ace.
Indeed.
Hey, just think now, what this guy's been saying today. He says that basically the way you handle the Globers is giving him the confidence to improve his life in respects of speaking to his boss and communicating and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And it's been like this for years. We've had meetings for literally years, and I've said something maybe 3 times in 6 years, and now pretty much every meeting I'll say something, regardless of what it is. I'll just express myself.
That's
well, you seem like a natural. When
That's amazing. That's great.
When you did your presentation.
You're a flat nerd, you know. I can really relate to that because I'm the same way. I'm not really a public speaker. I don't do that, you know, that well. And yeah, this show has helped with that. Definitely. Like I completely concur with what you said on that.
Yeah, and I actually don't hear it in you when you speak, whether on the show or off air. You sound the same to me. But whenever we get into intimate conversations, just you and I, we really go at it, and it just feels different. Obviously, you know, stage fright is a very real thing.
Right.
But you know, it's funny though. I don't feel that when I'm on here. I don't.
That's
feel
because
that
you don't
right?
have.
Maybe it's because I don't. Yeah, I don't see the people. And
Exactly.
whatever, and
You
I know
don't
people
have
are
like
listening.
40 people staring you in the face. It's
Right.
a big difference.
And I get that. But still, like for me, somebody like me that's not a public speaker at all, you know, it's a step. You know, even though in my real life I'm very comfortable speaking to the people I know and whatever, you know, and being able to, you know, articulate whatever it is I need to say. But you know, it helps being able to, especially with this type of subject, which I'm still learning to, you know.
Get back to work.
Sorry about that. That's co-workers. Sorry, they're all loud.
Yeah, I do kind of have a talent for public speaking, expressed in unique moments, in school even, but the thing is, I'm very I get really, really nervous about that kind of thing, about doing that kind of presentation like thing. And Flat Earth Talks helped me to train this. Because, yeah, you might remember me in the beginning. It was just completely, totally nervous and constantly stumbling over my own tongue, and like much worse than now. And like get even like really embarrassed, that kind of thing. I don't have that anymore now. It's just like, yeah, I'm used to it. Still get some nerves, but nothing like before, because I just know what is most likely to happen.
That's interesting, because I definitely never see you like that. But maybe it's just been such a long time, but you always seem very confident.
That's 2 years.
That's good. Yeah.
2 years, man. I'm now at Flat Earth Early Bird 22. And before that, let me just see. I got a lot of playlists. And my Flat Earth, I got 51 Flat Earth Talks. Over the course of, what is it, 2 years? Yeah. A little over 2 years. So, yeah, that's a lot of practice. And I put in a lot of effort. Like, I really take it very seriously every time. That also helps. And it's something I just really want to do, and I want to train that skill. Because I think I can use it for the better of the world. And
yeah, it's
help
funny
me
to
manifest some of my better ideas. Sorry?
It's funny to hear you guys talk about stage fright, because I don't have that at all. So
I can tell. That's awesome. I love when I see you in the karaoke. It's just like, I cannot believe he could just get up there and do that.
Yeah,
that is incredible to me.
It's so funny. Like, tongue-tied, your tongue gets thick. I'm like, what is that like?
Yeah, and it's just specifically the voice, because I played drums for, let's see, about 14 years. And, you know, I toured, and I toured in different countries and stuff. So it's just about speaking.
Right.
It's weird.
Right. Yeah, I suppose that's it. That, you know, there would be even people who would be nervous about doing that on a different scale. Like, they couldn't even play the drums in front of somebody.
Right.
That's
I
funny
do it
too,
if
because
I
I
have-
used to play musical instruments, and when I was in band, I had no problem getting up and doing a solo on a clarinet or a saxophone or something like that. But if I had to put that down and speak, nah, it wasn't happening. You know,
That's it. Yeah.
It was crazy.
You have to play something for us, Chocolate.
Nah, it's been a long time since I played the saxophone or clarinet or anything, or piano.
Play some Clarence Clemens or
Some who?
Kenny G. Some Kenny G. Keep it
Clarence
easy.
Clemens. He was the
Kenny G.
he was the sax player for the Bruce Springsteen's band.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Oh yeah, he kind of just died.
Yeah. Kind of just died.
Yeah, kind of just died.
Wait, why is that funny? Didn't he just die?
Because he kind of just died. That was funny.
He's
only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Right, guys, I'm going to leave you to it.
All right, see you later, Ranty.
All right, catch you all later.
Great footage.
Hi, Ranty.
Yeah, it's just really amazing to see the difference 10 feet can make in trying to get observations like that.
Are you gonna start to go live more often?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I suppose it depends on whether or not I have anything to say that's worthwhile. Yesterday was just, you know, just trying to check and see what it all looked like, and the brain suggested I could get OBS.
So I will leave those guys chatting about the Chesapeake. Be sure to subscribe to The Plain Truth channel to get those images once he publishes them a little later on today. I'll also say once again a massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this after show possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of the Nathan Oakley audience for tuning into this premiere. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!